Hey, what's up YouTube, Skybadger here, and I'm back with a tips and tricks-esque video in Call of War 1942. So in this video I want to talk about why I play with the morale map on. Now many of you in the comments have repeatedly asked me to play with it turned off, and while that's fair, and if you guys like it that way I'll do it, but I'd like to explain the advantages of playing with morale map on. Now if we have a look at this map at the moment, we can see my territory as Communist Russia, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know who I'm playing. But if we have a look over the rest of the map, you can't tell what's really happening. You can look in close, and you can see some smoke in some places, and you know, we have very little idea why that is. But you know, if we turn the morale map on, we gain so much more information. We can see places of low morale, how it's spreading, and we can come up with ideas around what may be causing this. So this is one of the reasons I play with morale map on. It gives you so much more information. So if we start having a look at this AI country up here, if we have a look at how the morale is distributed around its capital, we can see that the morale around its capital is a lot lower. We can see that the forts are helping keeping it risen, but it is low. The capital only has such a high morale because the capital is there itself. I'd say that the provinces are so low on morale because this country lacks food. And I can tell that just by looking at it. This doesn't look like the handiwork of spies. Spies would be concentrated to one province. So for this case here, I'd say Latava is having food shortages or another resource shortage. They have goods and they have rare, so those sort of shortages are not a problem. It could be oil, but that wouldn't have this sort of effect. Now if we come down here and have a look at this as well, we can see once again you know, a similar problem. These provinces around Amsterdam, lower morale. This would be food related issues as well. We can see that Netherlands is once again suffering from food shortages. So if we have a look down here though, we can see that Belgium has low morale in its provinces as well. The capital is fairly high, so it's nothing to do with war related. It's not being dragged down by being at war with too many countries. It is food again. We can see that this province here used to belong to Belgium but has rebelled since. This sort of thing would be able to be achieved by spies, and I was hoping I'd be able to film this before it did rebel, but I was clearly too late. But this sort of thing over here though, this Austria has food. This sort of loss in morale could be due to how far away these provinces are to the capital. Now it's not too far, so it would have a small effect, but it doesn't. So this sort of lack of morale would be due to other shortages, goods maybe, iron, that sort of stuff. But if we come down here and have a look at Athens, Greece has food, goods as well, but these provinces up here are rebelling. So this low level of morale, even with forts, is due to lack of food. And you know, we don't need to see the newspaper to see that this person, well, this AI is struggling with lack of food. We can look at the map and say that based on how far away they are, their morale, there is a problem with food. Obviously the closer you get to a capital, the higher the morale, and this does have a effect over all provinces' lack of food, so we can isolate it down to that. So if we come down here, we can see that the morale over here is 64% is just due to the capital being far away. You can see that the United Kingdom has built heaps of forts, but the lack of morale here is not due to fighting, it is due to just being far away from the capital. So if we come back up to here though, this sort of low level morale could also be due to fighting. Now while it's unlikely because we can see that the force there is at a very high level, any morale that is below 28% usually gets there by fighting in the region. Same with 37%. 37% would be, kind of around the area of a province that had just been captured a day or two ago. So, although we know due to the fact that Greece has not much food, that's why, this sort of level morale and this sort of colour would be associated with a province recently being lost. Now, if we went back to just, turning it off, we wouldn't be able to tell that. To us, everything looks fine. Everything looks like Greece has it all sorted. Go up here, Austria, nah, not a problem, eh? Just look at that. We turn it off though, we can start to see that the provinces are low on morale, and they're not happy. Same up here, if we turn off display morale, everything looks pretty good. You'd think these are steady going players that'll got everything sorted. But you turn on morale and you can see that these players, these AIs, are actually struggling with resource production. Now, I know most of the things I've discussed in this video have been based around resource production, but that is not always the case. If we have a look up here, Finland, for example, is actually a bigger player in the game, or bigger AI rather. They have access to most resources, if I'm pretty sure, but you can see that they too are suffering from low level morale, and you can see how it's spreading to the neighbouring provinces around it. And you can see the effect it has on my provinces. So, being able to look at the morale and visualize things is a good way of being able to see what your opponents lack, where recent battles and wars have been fought, and how fast those areas are recovering. For example, when you take over a province, it will drop to 25% roughly, sometimes even worse. If you have morale map on and you can't see what's happening in that province, but it doesn't seem to be recovering very fast, that could be due to potentially lack of resources, spies active in the area, and other problems as well, even if it's just as simple as being too far away from the capital. Morale map can tell you so much about what's going on in your game, and if you neglect to look at it, you can lose so much vital information. So that is why I use the morale map. It's an extra tool that gives me a little advantage over my oppositions, and I don't feel as though as many players take advantage of it as they should. I feel that it has so much potential that many players just don't see. Like, for example, you wouldn't play with display armies turned off. That would be incredibly stupid. You wouldn't be able to move your troops around. You wouldn't be able to see where enemy opponents are moving. And you wouldn't be able to make any tactical moves. You wouldn't be able to, advance troops. But yet people play with it on. It would be stupid not to. By displaying morale, you can see, how strong your opponent is. If they have low level morale, they've got an underlying problem. They may be at war with too many people, maybe losing resource shortages. You can see how strong your opponent is based on their morale. So, although up here I can't see many of Finland's troops, but by looking at his morale, he has some problems. But if I wasn't displaying morale, he'd look just as fearsome as any other opponent. So, turn morale map on every now and then, have a look at it, see if you can understand. You don't need to play with it on like I do, but it is an awesome tool that I think many players underuse. Thank you for watching.